Thank you so much, John. Awesome. Great to have it. I could not think of a better way to get, yes, I do, with next to the chair. So we're doing a little stage move, so you're getting the behind the scenes, what happens. But I wanted to take a moment, because what happens, this is a little question for you, what happens when a former Harvard lawyer listens to her inner voice and becomes a career catalyst and best-selling author? The product is our amazing speaker today, Tama Kieves. I'm thrilled. Tama believes, and she shared with us last night, she believes in an inspired revolution where everyone is doing the work they're meant to do. And, amen. Can I get anybody up in that? So, yes. And she is calling forth artists, entrepreneurs, visionaries, and mavericks to take their talents and vision into the world. It's time. It is time. She believes it's time to stop trying to fit into the world or make it in the world, but instead remake the world with our love and excellence. It's not crazy to want a rich, authentic, or contributive life, but it is crazy to deny the inspired power that lives within you. So we've had the pleasure this entire summer of reading her new book, Thriving Through Uncertainty. And our Super Soul Summer Book Club had our finale last night, and we wrapped it up, and we left inspired and transformed. I know for a fact you all will be today as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Tama Kieves.
God, I've been dancing all morning. Oh my God, Adela, you're right. They do look marvelous. So, I wanted to just start off by asking a question. Is it me, or has life ratcheted up a notch? Right? Like, oh my God, like everyone you know is in some kind of change or uncertainty. And if you're going through that, by the way, if you're going through an uncertainty right now, what I want you to know is that the path is already inside you, that there is a knowing inside you, and that there is a voice that knows every single moment of every single minute exactly what we're meant to do, right? And I think that the universe is saying the grace period is now over. We've elected somebody that showed us that, right? And so, sorry. And so I really believe that. I really believe that every one of us has dreams inside us, and magnificence inside us, and love inside us, and excellence inside us, and capacities we can't even imagine inside us. And we are the presence of the alternative. And we are living in wild, inspired times that are demanding our inspired answers. Because you have an inspired answer. Every one of us does. But it's about listening to that inner voice, right? And so, and for me, what that ultimately means, I think this is the time period now where we are being asked to get out of our heads and be led. Right? To get out of our heads and be led. Because we know that inner voice is there. And so I'm going to ask you, and what we're going to throw it out to talk a little bit about, is what stops us from listening to that inner voice? You know this. You know all of this stuff. What stops us from following our dreams, our inner voice, our love? And if you heard me talk last night, I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. I deeply believe that if you're not following your inner voice, you're following somebody else. And you might want to ask, who are you following? Are you following the voice of the culture, the voice of the media, the voice of education, the voice of parents? I was following my mother. Not a good choice, by the way. You know, I knew when I was young that I wanted to write. That was my big dream. I wanted to write. I took creative writing in high school. We read Catcher in the Rye. You know, I fell in love with creative writing. The creative writing teacher was gorgeous. So this was a sign. Like, oh my God, all things add up to for those who serve, you know? And so I went home to share this fabulous news with my family that I had found my calling. but I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, to an Orthodox Jewish family. And if you said, I found my calling, I want to write, no one said Mazel Tov. No one, right? There was dead silence, right? You know, I basically, like I said last night, I could have said, I found my calling, I want to sell crack, or I want to sell my body to the night. My mother would have heard it the same way. You know, prostitutes, drug addicts, creative people, all the same boat. Y'all gonna live under the same bridge, right? You know, and so my mother said something like, you're gonna write? You're gonna write? You're gonna starve, you're gonna write. And that was the Go For Your Dreams talk. That was the extent of it. And then being a reasonable woman, she said something like, what? You can't get a job and you'll write on the Sundays, right? A reasonable plan. Most of us got this same exact advice, didn't we? Stay safe, be practical, be reasonable. Don't do what you love. Don't do what moves you. Don't do what rocks your world. Don't do something that's frivolous. You know, like, God forbid, listening to your heart, your soul, your gut, and everything you are. That's frivolous, right? Don't do that. Stay safe. And one of the things is I've been traveling around the country speaking, because what I want you to know is that the greatest safety you will ever have in this lifetime is listening to the love inside you. That is the only safety you will ever have in this lifetime. And we, again, are people who understand that, and we're meant to live that out loud, right? But I didn't know any of this back then, so of course I ignored all of it. And I went off to law school. And I got accepted to Harvard Law School, and I graduated with honors from Harvard Law School. And my mother, yeah, no, that deserves some applause, right? You know, it is the wonders of what you can do when you are completely checked out. When you are totally in fear and on autopilot, it's amazing what you can accomplish, let me tell you. You know, and so my mother was very, very proud, as you might imagine, and she was bragging in every synagogue for all she was worth. She was like, oh, my little girl, I don't want to tell you. Let me tell you. Let me tell you again. And so I ended up practicing law on partnership track of a major law firm, and I was very, very, very unhappy. And you may have had this experience in your life. It is worth crying about, I agree. It's a sad part of this story. But you may have had this experience in your life where you're doing what other people think you should do, or other people think is right, or other people have told you this is the path, and it feels empty inside to you. Right? And something inside me was feeling more and more empty and more scared, because I was at the height of what you're supposed to do and what success is supposed to look like, only it was feeling really empty to me. And by the way, that is Spirit's sign to you. Not that you're empty, but that there's something so meaningful for you and that you're meant to do it. And if you're not doing it, it's empty. Right? And so, but I was really, really scared at the time. And thank God a friend of mine said something amazing to me. He asked me, you know, because I was really thinking about, should I, you know, I don't know what to do. I don't even know if I want to be here anymore. And like, be here on the planet. I don't even mean at the law firm, right? I was just really, really scared and depressed. And he just said, you know, think about it. If you've been this successful doing something you don't love, what could you do with what you love? And that made sense, right? That was just like a logical thing. So that became the basis of my first book, This Time I Dance. If you don't, you know, if you're this successful doing something you don't love, what could you do with what you do love? And that for me was a wake-up call. And I thought, you know what? You get one life. I want to know. I want to know where this goes. I want to find out in my own lifetime what's true and what's not. And so I walked out of my law firm to discover and whatever, which, by the way, qualifies me as an expert in uncertainty. Just so you know, that is my doctorate in uncertainty. Because you walk out of a job without a plan, without money, without a husband, without anything, you're now a doctor of uncertainty, right? And so And what I want to talk about is how we thrive through uncertainty. That's my new book is Thriving Through Uncertainty, and so that's what I want to be talking about. And so one of the things I'm asked all the time, because I now coach for a living and I coach entrepreneurs and leaders and artists and basically anybody who'll pay me. And so one of the things I'm asked all the time is, okay, Tama, I get it. I have a dream. I have an inner voice, all that stuff. But how do I do it? How do I go from A to B to C to D? How do I get there, right? I don't know what the plan is. I don't know how to get there, how to figure it out, A to B to C to D. And one of the things that I will tell everyone, I tell all my clients, is that it's not a linear path. It's not an A to B to C to D. You are not going to figure this out. You are going to let it out, right? And what that means to me is I'll always tell people, you can't plan an inspired life. You can't plan an inspired life. You can't make this happen in your mind. It's inspired. It's from something inside you. It's greater than you. It's moving through you. But our job is to listen moment by moment, because in this moment, there is something you know. In this moment, there might be something, right? So I'm going to give you an example of how that worked for me. I will cut to the chase, and I will say I wrote my first book this time. It took me 12 years to write my first book, and some of you were with me last night. I was talking about that. I know some of you are getting depressed hearing that and like doing the math and think, oh, I liked her until that. Shoot, like, oh God, I don't have that kind of time. Like what the heck, But I always tell people, I really think it took me 11 years to heal. 11 years to believe in this universe that loves us so much. 11 years to trust in myself. 11 years to trust in God. 11 years to believe I was worth something. 11 years to do all this work, and 1 year to write a book. Right? So if things are taking time for you, because sometimes people think, why is it taking so long? Why is life taking so? It's because we're doing so much all at once. The people in this room, we're healing. We're undoing so much conditioning. We are learning a new way to be. That takes time. It's not a linear path. Right? So anyways, when I finished writing this book, I didn't have an agent or a contract or anybody a publisher or anybody that wanted this. I was following that inner voice, I was following that dream. And so I kept asking that inner voice, okay, what do I do? How do I get it into the world? What do I do, right? And whenever I would meditate, I would just hear this voice, and it just said, just put it in the river. Just put it in the river. Isn't that pretty? What the hell does that mean? Are you kidding me? Like I don't have enough issues? This is the plan? Are you kidding me? Right? I live in Denver, Colorado right now, right? It's like we don't even have rivers, right? So like it's not even literal. And by the way, I tell the story at my readings, and some people have said, maybe the voice meant put it on Amazon. Like, I don't know. It was just like, it's like hard enough to hear an inner voice, right? Now that it talks in poetry, and it's like, but I knew intuitively that it kind of meant just put it out there some way, somehow, put it in the stream of life. If it was supposed to go somewhere, it would. That's what I knew, like intuitively, just get it out there, put it in. So I knew, that I was looking at commercial publishing and I was looking at self-publishing, and I really knew that, I think it means I'm supposed to self-publish this. Just print it, just get it out there. But that was not the answer I wanted. Like how many times have you like asked for guidance and you get it and it's like, can I have some other guidance? Can I have lucrative guidance? Is there any lucrative guidance out there? Like where I make money now? Because I was looking at that thinking, wait a second, I don't know anything about marketing. I don't know anything about distribution. I don't know anything about publishing. And now I'm supposed to put my own money into this? Like, oh my God, But I had followed this path for 12 years of listening to this voice, and I thought, I'm going to go there. I'm just going to keep following this voice. I'm going to go all the way and see where this goes, right? And by the second that you decide that you're going to follow all the way your inner voice, the second you decide this is it, I'm committing, I'm going all the way, I'm going to follow it, the second you decide that, you will meet the most judgmental person. Just so you know, they are coming for you. You know, I always call, the law of attraction. This is the law of detraction. They are out there. They are coming for you the second you start believing, right? I don't know why that is, but I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I went to an ex-boyfriend's house for a Passover dinner, and I sat down next to this woman who was my mother on steroids. Bad. And all night she's drinking bad Manischewitz wine, right? All night, right? And she starts to grill me all night, all right? So she starts, grilling me and going, so you're going to publish a book? And you know nothing about marketing? And you know nothing about distribution? And you're putting your own money into this? You're very ambitious, right? Which is code for you're a nut, step away from my kids, right? I sat there, and I don't know if you know anything about the Passover ceremony. It's all about the exodus of the Jews, right? The freedom of the Jews, the exodus of the Jews. For the first time in my life, I understood that ceremony. I had never gotten it before. All night I'm thinking, let my people go. Let my people go. Right? All night, right? And so I'm thinking, oh my God, what do I tell this woman? Right? What do I tell this woman? Do I tell her, oh, don't worry, I have a plan. I'm going to put it in a river. Don't worry about me. I got plans. Plans, right? Or do I tell her, worse yet, oh, don't worry, honey. I've been listening to an inner voice for 12 years. It's really nice. Because you know how you can say that in a room like this and everybody agrees with you? You try that with someone normal. You see how that flies. You go out there and try that with someone normal and tell me how that goes. Right? So, of course, I left that meeting feeling like I am a nut, I'm crazy. What am I thinking, right? But I will cut to the chase and I will tell you, I finally got the guts and I finally just went ahead with it and I finally self-published my first book and I put it out there. And thank you. I just did it, And it started spreading through word of mouth, and it hit the Denver Post bestseller list. It hit the business bestseller list. It started spreading through word of mouth, and then 4 months after I self-published it, I got an email out of the blue, and it literally said, "Your fairy godmother has arrived." Your fairy godmother has arrived. Isn't that beautiful, right? Now you get an email like that, you are going to think it's spam, right? Your fairy godmother has arrived, right? You're going to think, I'm going to open it up as Russian girls are waiting for you. Russian girls are, make her happy tonight. There's money for you in Nairobi. Give us your credit card number. The King Tut wants you. Right? You're going to think it's spam, but I opened it up. And it was an email from a vice president of marketing and publicity for Random House. And she had been in a career transition and her own career transition, and she had somehow found my self-published book. And she wrote to me and said, "This is the best book I have ever read on finding your calling and on finding your dream. I love this book. I would love to get it to a major New York publisher. Can I do that?" And I'm like, no, no, nah, I think I'll pass, right? She got it to the publisher that I had always dreamed of. It was Tarcher, part of Penguin. It was my dream publisher, whatever. She got it to the president of the company. I would have settled for the clerk, just the mailroom guy would be okay. She got it to the president, and they bought the book. And they bought the book exactly the way that it was. Exactly the way that it was. Yeah, thank you. Meaning they kept the exact title, This Time I Dance. They kept the word. I had to edit maybe 10 sentences out of the entire book as an unknown author, right? As an unknown author. That I had self-published, right? I did it in purple because I like purple. You know, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I did it in purple. They did it in purple. You know, they just kept everything the way that it was. As an unknown author, had I gone the established way and I had followed what you're supposed to do and all the things you're supposed to do and make happen, I would never have ended up where I ended up. But that's what I mean when I say you can't plan an inspired life. How can you plan that? How are you going to plan, I'm going to have a meltdown for 12 years of my life. Some other woman's going to have a meltdown at the end of those 12 years. We're going to hook up, and that's my business plan. That's what I had going for me, right? You know, like what bank is going to go, oh, that sounds so good to us, Miss Kieves. We'll sign off on that, right? So I love that story because it's such a great example of following this dream, because I know that every single one of us has this voice inside us, and that's why I'm so passionate about speaking it, because I want to know where your life would go. I want to know what could happen for you in your marriage, in your health situation, in your money situation, in your career, because that's what we're doing here, right? We're listening to that other voice. So I would love to hear just maybe what's on your mind about that. Like either what stops you from knowing what you want, what stops you from taking a next step. I would just love to see, you know, maybe we'll just talk a little bit about that and then I'll go back in and close. And so what stops you from knowing what you want, or what stops you from taking a step? I'm curious. Anybody feel like sharing? So there's a hand there. Yes.
In one of the chapters of the book, you talk about fear, and you represent this fear.
I talk about it in all the chapters of the book. But go ahead. Yes.
Well, in this case, it was when you confront the bear, and to me that was so touching because I was celebrating my 41 year on walking this earth, and I also walk into a bear.
Wow.
So to me, it was just so profound.
Wow.
To have that fear.
Yes.
And I felt it.
Yes.
So deep inside me that I was like, oh my God, this is what fears looks like.
Yes.
But I was able to transcend that moment, like you were expressing in the book. So I just want to thank you for that.
Thank
put
you.
it in words.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
It's just fascinating.
And I'll just describe a little bit about what you're talking about for people that maybe have unfortunately not read the book. Have unfortunately not yet read and memorized the book, but just briefly, I was on a hike with a boyfriend at the time, and we hiked way too far, and we weren't paying attention, and then we had to get back, you know, because we realized, oh my God, the sun's going down, and it's getting cold, and we weren't dressed right, and we're gonna, like, you know, you have fears of hypothermia and getting cold, and we're walking back, and we literally encounter a bear. And, you know, and so it was this incredibly metaphoric moment because I had to walk by the bear to get free. And the temptation, of course, was, no, I'm not walking by that bear, thank you very much. You know, like, I think I'll go back the other way. But the other way, even though it was more comfortable and easier, would have led to certain death, right? It would have been easier, it would have been nice, but it would have led to certain death, right, slowly, through hypothermia, versus walking towards your freedom, going for your freedom in a way that looked more dangerous, but was the only direction to freedom. Because there's only one direction to freedom. You don't get to pick it. You know, when I'm working with clients, I always tell people, you don't get to choose what you love. It chooses you. You don't get to choose what your dream is. It chooses you. You get to choose whether you say yes or not. And spoiler alert, I did live. You know, and I am not a nature lover, just for the record. Like, you know, like people are like, oh my, that's so cool, you saw a bear. I was like, no, it is not so cool. You know, it was just like, oh my God. But yes, it was an amazing, and by the way, I had just left my career at that moment, so it was this amazing metaphoric thing, like, oh my God, this is just like life, where you have to, sometimes in your life, you're being asked to do something that seems harder and scarier. and yet it's better, and it's freer, and it's more loving, and it's more right. And other people are going to say, oh, but it's scary and horrible. Why do you want to do that? Why don't you just take the easier thing and numb out with us and go to sleep forever with an ocean view? Right? So, again, I want to know what stops you from taking a step or knowing. There's a hand over here. Make David run.
Looks good running.
Yeah.
Hey. I guess I should stand up. So for me, it's money.
Mm-hmm.
So like I know exactly.
That's so unique, by the way.
Right. So like I know exactly what I'm supposed to do.
Yes.
I like even have a 60-page business plan for it. I can do it. There's literally nothing in the way. It's just money.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that seems to be a consistent theme in my life.
Gee, I wonder why that is. No, and I'm fooling with you only because one of the things about going for your calling, one of the things, a lot of times people say, oh, follow your bliss and all the doors will open and whatever, and they will. But one of the things to keep in mind that I keep discovering is that in following my bliss and following my calling, I'm here to heal. I'm here to undo everything that has ever stopped me before. So we're supposed to hit challenging things, right? If money's been an issue before, we're supposed to hit money as an issue now. Or if self-doubt's been an issue before, we're supposed to hit self-doubt now. Because for me, the one thing about going after your calling, it's the one thing that has all the love and light in it that you'll go through, that you'll heal for. So I'll just say quickly, there's so much I would love to talk about, like especially with money, because that's a lot of people's issue, right? And so, first of all, I do not believe that our God, our light, would ever give us a path without a way. I just don't. And so we may not know that way, and it might be scary, and we may think we need a certain amount of money, or we may think we need it a certain way, or whatever, but I know there is a way. But what I will say, because a lot of times people have that fear of, well, money is security, right? Money is security, like you need security. And one thing I will say is that, what I'd plant for you is that, what if security is security? Right? We think in this culture that money in the bank is what's secure, right? But I'll go one step further. I personally think it's health. I think it's well-being. I think we all want to know that we're going to be okay, right? It's not about the money. We just want to know that we're going to be okay, or it's about health. I've met many, many people, that are dying with lots of money in the bank. Right? And so, again, I just think that for me, health is my number one priority. And your number one place of health is really following what's right inside you, right? And so, for me, I got to a place of being depressed where I did not want to live anymore, and it didn't matter the money I had. That said, I hear what you're saying, that in a business you actually do need some money, and
right,
I get
I'm healthy,
it.
And
Okay,
I'm not depressed.
Okay, cool. And I just want to clarify too. A lot of times I'll use anything somebody asks to kind of talk to a lot of different people, so it's not always applicable to what you're saying. But the one thing I do know is, and maybe we could talk afterwards about it or something. But one thing I do know about that is that, for me, it's just about talking about what you love, and talking about the business, and talking about what the movement is, or what you're here to do. I literally did this in a workshop years ago. It was really cool. Somebody had said, same thing. I have this foundation I want to start. It's got this incredible cause. It's got this incredible thing, but I don't have the money. And so I just said, well, instead of focusing on that story, which is true, right, let's focus on the love and the passion and what you're here to do, and keep talking about. So I made her get up and talk about it. 3 different people came up to her afterwards and said, here's a check, and funded it. Then I, of course, wanted to run out. Well, me too! I have passion also, by the way. Wait, I have things to do too. But it was too late. She got she got the checks. But my point in it is, let's just start talking about what you're here to do, right? Let's build that real story of who you are. So thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Yes. I'm good now, thank you.
I have to sit here and just thank you for being you.
Thank you.
Because on September 8th, 1998, I too am a lawyer, and I walked away from a high-profile job in Washington, D.C., I had a stack of business cards with the name of a consultancy of no clients. I had 3 months of savings and a desire to live truthfully, and that's all I had. And your book, This Time I Dance, was the first book I ran across in that very scary time in my life. And here I am 20 years later.
Woo!
And I haven't missed a meal.
Yay! Oh!
And in 2004, when I published my first book, I wrote to you asking you for an endorsement, and you didn't know me from a hole in the wall.
Are you Idira?
I am.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
You didn't know me for a hole in the wall, but you were so gracious and so kind, and you wrote an endorsement for me, and I'm following you to this day, and when I knew that you were coming to Atlanta, I had to come see you. I mean, I'm just so grateful.
Oh my
So
God!
grateful. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Wow. They're standing for you, sister. They're standing for you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Thank you.
And I didn't, move into a box underneath a bridge like everybody else was going to tell me.
Yeah. But by the way, can you see how one person's courage ignites somebody else's courage, ignites somebody else's courage, ignites somebody else's courage? And that's why I always feel like when I'm alone in my room, I'm always so, so grateful when I get something like that where it's like, oh my God, because you feel like you're all alone in this, and you feel like you're crazy, and you feel like it's you. But what you don't realize is we're all called to do this together. We are all doing this together. Right? And we're all doing it not only for ourselves, but for each other. When I'm scared and I'm crazy and I'm going through a particular issue, I'll always go, I'm going to heal this for my people. I'm gonna heal this and teach it. Like they need it. They need it. Because it's true, right? We're all doing it with each other and for each other. Wow, thank you. Oh my God, how cool is that? Wow, and you're even more beautiful. Wow. I've seen your little Facebook photo. Okay, yes.
My fear is the fear of what people will say and talk about me.
Yes.
So I'm going to host a book club for This Time I Dance. So who wants to join me?
Woo! Woo, woo, woo! Yay! Yay, thank you. And I love that by the way, a fear of what other people will say or talk about me, right? I've always been afraid of that. Like a lot of us, by the way, have been successful in life because we've known how to undercut ourselves, right? We've been successful because we know how to clip our wings or be what we think other people want, right? And then the path of authenticity, the path of really going for our passion, the path of really going out there is, it's that fear of, my God, we may lose approval, right? But here's the thing, you may lose other people, but it's worth it. Because I don't want you to lose yourself. Because you lose yourself, you lose everyone and everything. Right? I remember years ago, I was really scared of what my father would say when I left law. I always joke about my mother, but I was really scared about my father because he was really volatile, and I thought he would excommunicate me from the family. I really did, because he could be like that. He was really a volatile guy. And I was terrified, and I remember telling a therapist at the time, like, I don't want to lose his love. I'm scared. I don't want to do this. I don't want to lose my father. I don't want to lose his love. And she just said, if you could lose somebody by being who you are, then you don't have their love. Right? You could lose somebody by being who you are, then you don't have their love. And then years later, I discovered A Course in Miracles, which I teach and I love. And A Course in Miracles says, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing real can be threatened, right? By the way, I did tell my father. I was so scared. I prepared. I went to God knows how many therapy sessions. God knows, right? I told my father, and he just went, okay. I spent thousands of dollars. I was like, what? I have killed so many many trees on this issue journaling, you know? And he was just like, yeah, you're smart. You'll figure it out. I don't know. What do you got something to eat? I was just like, so anyway, it's just amazing. But by the way, I never felt so loved in my life. I never felt so loved in my life because he didn't excommunicate me. And that was probably his way of saying, I love you madly, right? You know, like, right? So I have no idea how I'm doing on time, and I want to tell you 2 other stories, so I'm just, okay, I'll do one more question. Okay.
Hello. First off, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I so enjoyed
It's
your
such
frankness.
a chore. It's such a chore, you can tell.
Your frankness and lightness in your writing was just very refreshing. Something that's holding me back is like anxiety. You know, when I go to do something, like I could be writing and my stomach will start hurting. For the last couple of months, I've been breaking out in hives. Mm-hmm. Like I'm literally, it's the physical responses that I get when I'm really pushing myself
You must
forward.
be very powerful. Seriously. Fear is doing all that to hold you back. Like that, we need an army holding back that power. And by the way, I will tell you, I used to, in speaking, everybody thinks, oh my God, you're such a natural speaker, and I've become one. I used to have panic attacks. Even, you know, before I would speak or whatever. It was really, really scary. Like it was just, even though your mind goes, what's the big deal? It's no big deal. You know you can do this. You know you can have this. And yet something would overgo. And for me, my healing was learning how to love myself even more. My healing was learning how to love even that, which was terrifying, because many of us are trying to push ourselves into the... I guarantee you that some of the self-talk that's going on is, you have to write this thing, you have to be excellent, it has to be perfect, you have to write a bestseller, it has to be now, right? And I had to work with that other part of me and just say, I finally had to say, honey, your health is more important to me than anything. And even if, God forbid, it meant walking off a stage, you know, which to me was like, oh my God, you can't do that. That's professional. You can't do that in front of people, whatever. When I finally made my self-love more important than anything else, that's when it went away. Right? So I'd want you to make your self-love more important than anything else. You don't have to write right now. You will, because you're that powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Woo! Thank you. So I just want to share a few other stories that I want to make sure I share with you, because what I want to talk a little bit about is thriving through uncertainty, right? When I used to speak, I always used to end with that sexy story of getting the book published, because it ends on such a high note and it's so sexy, right? But I want to talk about thriving through uncertainty, because have you ever noticed that you think if you just get over there, it'll be okay? Right? If you just get the book published, you'll be okay. If the check just comes in, you'll be okay. If you just got the money for whatever it is, you'll be okay. If you just found the man of your dreams, you'd be okay. If you could just get rid of that man of your dreams, you'd be okay. Right? That story changes as you go along, right? And here's the thing, is that thriving is about thriving through uncertainty. It's not something that comes later. We who are living this spiritual life are doing it here, and we are doing it now, right? It's about being in this moment and thriving. And so I used an analogy in Thriving Through Uncertainty about the video game. You may have read about the video game, because I don't know about you, but I've had the experience of like doing something I love or doing something I care about, and then I hit the same stupid issue again. Like I have the same personal issue again. Like, I can't believe it. I'm going to go through this issue again. Have I not done enough therapy about this? You know, have I not killed enough, trees journaling about this issue? Have you ever had that? Like the same issues keep coming back? That's like, what? And I now believe it's because the inspired life is a video game. And what that means is that you succeeded. You did succeed. You went to a next level. And at that next level, it gets harder. At that next level, the enemies change now. The rules change. You feel like you're backwards, but you're actually forwards. You're actually expanding. You're not falling behind. You've just gone to a next level of expansion. And the deal is, in this game, can I choose again? can I love you again? Can I apply my spiritual principles here now? I did it there. Can I do it here? Can I do it this level? So I think that's the way that this is always going to work. So I'm going to give you an example. In my second book, Inspired and Unstoppable, when that came out, oh, he's got it. I love it. Yay. I love that book. Yeah. When that book this is behind the scenes story now. And so before that book came out, I had done this thing, maybe you've done this kind of thing, where I decided this time I'm going to get it right. This time I'm going to make up for everything I've ever done wrong. I'm going to get it right this time. I'm going to do it perfect, right? Which is the setup for failure, right? You know where this is going, right? So before Inspired and Unstoppable comes out, I'm behind the scenes getting ready for this book launch, and I'm, thinking I got to do this and this and this and this, and everything starts falling apart. My partner got sick, and so that, that became a huge thing, and suddenly we didn't have help, and the assistant I had completely flaked out at one point, and so that was gone. And so we were starting to miss deadlines and all these things that we were going to do to launch this book and get publicity and all this stuff. And so I was starting to freak out, right? I was starting to be very, very attractive. Very, very attractive in a self-help author. Very right? Very, very attractive. Self-help author who's just written a book called Inspired and Unstoppable, right? So one of my girlfriends said, okay, this is you are crazy now. You need to see this healer. So she grabs me and she says, you need to go see this healer, right? And it's like, I didn't know who the heck this woman was, what the heck it was. It's like, you know how when you're scared out of your mind, okay, you'll do anything. So I drive up to the mountains to see this healer that I don't know. And this healer is in a yurt. In a yurt. Now, I didn't know what the hell a yurt was. A yurt is a tent. It's like a round tent, right? She's sitting in the yurt, and I'm supposed to go in the yurt, right? And so I sit down, and she asks in a very sweet, soft healer voice, what would you like to shift today? If you could heal anything, right? I'm crazy at this point, right? I am crazy, and when I'm crazy, I'm in New York City mind crazy, right? So I'm like, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And I am sure that poor woman thought, there is not enough sage on the planet to cleanse this space. I'm gonna have to move now. I'm gonna have to move now and sell this property because this one, there's not enough sage on the planet that's gonna clean this space. So she grabs me. She grabs me and she says, okay, fine, we're going to do a ritual, right? And so it's in the middle of the mountain somewhere, and she walks me on her property, and there's this gorgeous stream that's there, right? It's this gorgeous stream. And she has me stand in the center of the stream, right? And so she has me look downstream. She says, okay, face downstream, and all the water's rushing and rushing and splashing and rushing. And she goes, that's everything you've done wrong. Right? Look, there it is. You should have done that. Whoop, gone. You could have done that. Whoop, gone. That's all the opportunities you missed. Look at that. I'm like, this is not helping. Just so you know. Right? And so she's like, and she's asking, how are you feeling? Right? Because she's like, look at that. Oh my God, remember that brilliant idea you had? Whoa, somebody downstream is making $1 million. I'm like, what? What? I'm like, oh my God, and I'm paying money for this? And so I'm freaking out, and she goes, what are you feeling right now? And I'm like, and then I finally realized, it's out of control, because I'm trying to grab everything, right? And she said, well, tell me more about that. I'm like, it's out of control. And then I finally realized, it is out of control. I am out of control. I don't have control. And what I realized was all that I could do in that moment, in that crazy moment of my life, was what I could do. That's all I could do. It was not in my control. I could do what I could do. And it was this moment of incredible self-forgiveness, of realizing all I could do was what I could do. And then she had me turn, and she had me face the stream coming this way. And the water was splashing and moving. And she goes, this is your life. This is the universe giving you chance and chance and chance and love and love and love and love. Do you think it's ever going to stop? It was just rushing and rushing and rushing, right? And it was just this amazing moment of realizing, oh my God, the past does not create the future. It does not. Whatever the hell happened in the past, it does not create the future at all. Isn't that amazing? You know, and it was this thing about the present moment is the only moment that creates this future. And I had been so busy looking at all I should have done and could have done and would have done and everything I missed and everything I wasn't and all the talents I didn't have and everything everybody else had. And I was so busy looking at all that I was missing all that was being given to me and given to me and given to me and given to me. And it was just an amazing moment. And so that to me is what thriving through uncertainty means. It's about being in this moment and saying, can we dare to choose again? Can we, even in this moment as a community, can we make the decision that even if you've been hurt, or even if you've been scared, or even if it didn't work out, or you were disappointed, or you're tempted to give up, or you're tempted to believe some diagnosis, or you're tempted to believe some credit card statement about your worth, or anything else, can we in this moment choose again because we're serving a higher power? And that higher power gives and gives and gives, but not if we are constantly looking at our definition of ourselves. Right? So I want to read you a passage from Thriving Through Uncertainty, and it's about that video game. It's a little bit about that video game. Also, I refer to it. Did I lose something? I'm always throwing bookmarks all over the place. So anyway, but I refer to it in a quote by A Course in Miracles, and A Course in Miracles, as you may know, is a path of living in love instead of fear. And it's got a great quote in it that basically says, "Who you think you are is a belief to be undone." Who you think you are is a belief to be undone, right? And what that means is that the part of you that feels limited or too old or overweight or not this or doesn't have an education or whatever it is, right? We all have our stories. Who we think we are is a belief to be undone, because there's this other power within us, right? So this is talking a little bit about playing that video game. I'm going to read my glasses. You would think I'd memorize this by now. Okay. And it's also talking about the magic of practice, that we're here to keep practicing, and thriving is practicing. It's not like we do this once. We choose again, and we choose again, and we choose again, right? And so this is talking about, this is the magic of practice. It gets better. We become more fluid with each limit we surpass. When I'm in pain or tempted to believe that I'm beaten, I remind myself that no fear can withstand my devotion, patience, and focus. I can always see things in a new way. I will become who I am meant to become. I am not can't read this. I am not defined by the circumstance. I am the storyteller. I am the shapeshifter. I am the beloved. Anything you give me, I will throw into the blender. This process will yield even sweeter freedom. I will not beat myself up for being in pain or stuck. I will practice for as long as it takes to be free. I will thrive. And like the great teacher Paramahansa Yogananda says, persistence guarantees that results are inevitable. A Course in Miracles teaches that who you think you are is a belief to be undone. You think you can be stopped. You think you can be diminished. You think you can fail. But that's the game. You can never lose. You already have everything you need. You have this crazy alchemical love within you, and it's yours to give in any situation, which changes every situation, and even changes you as you give it. You do not walk alone. Will you choose to listen to the disconnected, smallest version of yourself, or the highest allegiance of your spirit? You have a choice. Choose love. Choose again. Choose now. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Thank you. I want to thank you. Thank you. I want to end with one of my favorite quotes in the world. Thank you so, so much. Also, first of all, I do want to invite you, please say hello to me at the back table. We have books for sale. We're doing 3 books for $40 flat fee or 4 books for $50 flat fee, no tax. I will sign everything. Also, I'm in town for 2 days. I'm doing some coaching sessions if you're interested. And also just wanted to mention, please get on my newsletter list if you can, because we're creating a worldwide tribe of people who are living in love instead of fear. And I really want to keep you inspired and ignited, so please make sure you get on the list if you can. I'm also on Facebook every single day doing the same thing. We have a Facebook community. Idara is on it with me, so if you don't like me, you can see her. But I'd love to have you there and keep you inspired. Also, I just want to mention I am going to be teaching a new Course in Miracles class coming up, and we're doing $25 off if you do it today. So talk to me. But I do want to end with my favorite quote in the world, and it's attributed to Jesus from the Gnostics. And it says, "If you bring forth that which is within you, that which is within you will save you. If you do not bring forth that which is within you, that which is within you will destroy you." It's a little gift of guilt from my people. Thank you so, so much. Oh my God, thank you so much. What an honor. Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Woo! Woo! And do something.